Hey now, ladies and gentlemen. Hey now, 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 hey now. Welcome to a brand new edition of The Line. It's a Monday edition. And yes, I know Mondays suck, but it doesn't suck from 11 to 2. That's our job here. That's my job, is to make sure your day only sucks outside the hours of 11 to 2. Shout out to my Hey Now roll call people. Y'all are blowing it up already. Even the weekend doesn't make you forget that stuff, which very excited about. That makes me happy. Makes my heart warm. We're live on our social medias. YouTube. Actually, we just broke it down to YouTube and Twitter. So if you're following us on either of those, you can watch this radio show for today. Very special treat. And again, this is part of us making sure that your day doesn't suck between 11 and 2. My buddy Tony Gump here with me as well, because I can't do any of this without Tony Gump.
I'm here. I'm ready to rock. Let's get this puppy rolling.
He's ready to rock and roll. I will say this. When we do this, which is rare, in certain situations, we end up, either having to do it this way or we voluntarily do it this way. It puts a tremendous amount of stress on Tony Gump, because we got to understand, Tony Gump is a business owner. He's not a professional producer, but he has learned. You're just as good as anybody at this.
Well, that's what they tell me, but I still don't believe them.
You are good, and you've been a year and let's see,
about almost a year and a half.
Almost a year and a half. And you're a pro, man. You do it better than anybody else. Like Jamie on Joe Rogan's show, he couldn't do this. He couldn't do it this way. I do. Listen, I love Joe Rogan, and I love everything about their podcast, but there are some things when I watch it, and I'm like, Tony Gump would have done that a little better.
I've seen him pull up some clips kind of slow,
Get on top of it, Jamie. No, we're not taking shots at them. We love those guys.
Oh, yeah.
So, thank y'all for hanging out. We had a little bit of a little bit of confusion where we had set up an upcoming event, which we had never done before on YouTube, where you can go in there and hit the notify me and all that, and it sends you a reminder. And when we started our live stream, it just kicked it to a whole new live stream. So all those people that I told to hit the notify me button, they're never going to get a reminder now.
I think they'll figure it out at this point.
Hopefully y'all figure it out. Hopefully you'll get that situated. March Madness. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring Damien. I'll be back in studio at the station tomorrow. But I think what I'll do is I'll bring Damien back in on Friday, because Friday the games start back Friday and Saturday, I believe.
Well, we got the last round of 32 games. I mean, round of 32 games today.
Oh, there's more games today.
Yeah.
The second round games.
Yeah, more second round games today, like 2 second round games a day, and then Sweet 16 starts Thursday. So Friday that'd be good. Bring Damien back on Friday.
Who is it that plays today?
I'm looking at that right now.
I think it's Purdue and Alabama, possibly.
Well, Alabama played yesterday.
Oh, that's yesterday. Today, let's see. Today is the 23rd. Let's see.
Oh, those games on a Monday. That's wild.
Yeah.
NCAA is crazy.
Actually, no, we're good. We're good.
Okay.
We're good. I'm just looking at my round of 32. We're good. Last night was Purdue McNeese State.
That was
you guys pulled in the clutch on UCLA.
Yeah, baby. We look good. We look good.
The Arizona-Oregon game was beautiful. That was the best game of the night.
So you'll have Friday and Saturday will be the Sweet 16, which is comprised of 8 games. So you'll have 4 games per day. I don't know what that breakdown is, but after that, we're probably just dealing with week, because it gets kind of tough. I mean, for the first round and the second round, when the games are going on in the middle of the day during the week, there's a lot of us that can't really pay a lot of attention to it because we're working. So, but we're getting down to the nitty gritty, man. I mean, after this,
all of these games, not to cut you off, Andrew, but all of these games will be night games. So, like, for example, Auburn, Michigan is Friday, 8:39. Bama BYU is Thursday, 6:09, and then Yeah, Tennessee and Kentucky is Friday 6:39. So you got an opportunity to really talk and either preview or post game discuss between Thursday and Friday.
Yeah, I don't know how many Kentucky fans that we have in the audience, and
Right.
if we do, I'll go ahead and apologize to you guys in advance. But when it comes to basketball, like, Kentucky is our arch nemesis. Like, I
Yes, sir.
absolutely despise Kentucky basketball. So this is I actually, and I didn't even want the Kentucky matchup. I wanted the Illinois matchup because, Tony Gump, that's your team.
Oh yeah, I wanted that matchup too.
We were going to actually live stream ourselves watching it if that was in fact the matchup, and they just couldn't pull it off.
Yeah, I still put Kentucky winning on my bracket though. I wasn't going to go for that.
What is it? Is your Final Four still intact?
Michigan State, Florida, Purdue, Duke. Yeah.
Dang. I don't even know. I'm going to have to look at mine. I think, I had all SEC. Did Ole Miss win yesterday?
Ole Miss did win yesterday.
Okay. So I guess mine's still intact as well. I had an all SEC Final Four, Ole Miss versus Florida, Alabama. Yeah, I think I deserve a little more credit for putting Alabama in the Final Four. Thank you very much.
We're going to give you some credit for that. We'll give you
Alabama
some
versus
for that.
Tennessee in the Final Four, and then Florida and Tennessee in the championship game. And you know what happens after that, baby. The big orange coming through. Because there are these rumors, and I didn't know anything about it. I just came across it yesterday that some of these sports writers are speculating that Rick Barnes may retire, which is our coach. And I'm like, you know, it's a love-hate relationship with somebody like that, but I love Rick Barnes, and I will say if he can get us a national championship this year and he wants to retire, I'm okay with it. I'll be fine with it if that's what he wants to do. But you better make a good hire, because I don't want to go through a, basketball wasteland for 10 years, which we've done before. Tennessee's had a pretty good – I mean, going back to the early 2000s and then even back further than that, they've always had a pretty good basketball team.
Yeah.
So
Pearl kept y'all pretty much neck and neck with Pat, because at a certain point, Tennessee was known on both sides for having a solid basketball program and having the two best basketball coaches on the same campus.
yeah, I'll be honest. I'll accept if Rick Barnes retires. I'll accept nothing less than Bruce Pearl. I think you just take Bruce Pearl back from Auburn.
So you would get Bruce back from Auburn?
Yeah, just take a dump truck full of money, back it up to the Plains, and say, "Come on, cuz, get in, let's go. We're going back to Knoxville," because that dude loves Knoxville. He's got a real soft spot for Tennessee. And he didn't want to leave. I mean, when you go back and look at that whole situation, he got the boot because he had a recruit at a barbecue at his house, and it could have been not brushed under the rug, but it could have been looked over in the grand scheme if it weren't for the time, because it was right after Lane Kiffin had split town and went to USC, and so everybody was in a panic because. Here we are. We just got rid of Fulmer, brought some young guy in, and then he just left us after 1 year. And then the NCAA was snooping around, so they were all freaked out, and then they cut Bruce Pearl loose. Should have never done that, in my opinion.
No, but at that level, you got to know what you're doing. You got to watch your barbecues and all the other little things that could happen,
Watch your peas and your barbecues, as they say.
But thankfully, Bruce can do anything he wants to do now because he got NIL.
Yeah.
So, Now, my question to you as a Tennessee fan, and you are old enough to kind of know all of the, drama of the early 2000s, do you think that was more them letting Bruce go because of Lane or because of the violations?
No, I think I think they were scared. I think they were scared of the NCAA, and they were trying to take as much potential heat off of them as possible. And they thought, well, the NCAA is going to come snooping around. Let's go ahead. Because what these schools do is if there's problems or if there's cheating, whether the athletic department was actively involved or knew or not, they're always going to take this proactive approach and let people go and say to the NCAA, look, we're on top of it. We fired him once we found out, blah, blah, blah. It's what Tennessee did with Jeremy Pruitt, and the NCAA, ruled that the athletic department legitimately didn't know Jeremy Pruitt was paying players, and that kept us from getting in trouble or getting probation or whatever it was. And then, 2-3 years later, they're doing NIL. So it's just a weird time in sports, honestly. I don't know how to feel about it. We've talked about it before, but it's a whole thing. What else? Something that I think probably touched you, Tony Gump, was the death of George Foreman.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Because you use a George Foreman grill every single day.
Yes, I do. I have multiple backups just in case one goes out.
When I saw that, I pictured you standing in your kitchen flipping a burger on your George Foreman grill with one single tear running down your face.
Yeah, I thought about my hamburgers at first, and my second thought was how much of a marketer he was for all the Axine vase.
That's the first thing that we think of.
Yeah, the commercials and everything, go figure.
Well, yeah, he was up in the cut on that. He was
taking the jab and smiling big.
Yeah. How old was he? He was
76, I think.
70, so he was up there. I mean, but the jab probably didn't help at the end of the day.
I don't even know why. I just think of that right away now,
Yeah.
Especially if they're marketing it.
Yeah, no doubt. Another thing is the NCAA Wrestling Championship. And I'm going to be honest, I don't watch NCAA wrestling, but this guy, Wyatt Hendrickson, apparently was the big-time underdog against, the all-time great or whatever, and he goes and he beats the guy in what they're calling the biggest upset in NCAA wrestling history. And Trump is there. First of all, Trump walks out. Crowd goes absolutely nuts. I mean, the place explodes.
Yeah.
2 minutes to break.
And then he wins the match, and then once he does, he goes over to Trump, and he shakes his hand, gives him a hug, and all that kind of stuff. And just, again, crowd going wild. It was such good stuff, man. I'm like, I don't even know what's going on. I don't know anything about NCAA wrestling, but I love this. I may start watching this. All right, let me hit this break before we get too deep off in it. We got a lot to get to. We will make that happen when we get back on the other side. 205-545-9950. More of the line coming up. Here we go, baby. Oh, yeah. So NCAA wrestling, I'm totally going to be getting into that from now on. But does that mean, with what happened, does that mean it's over? I guess that was the championship,
I think
right?
that was it, yeah.
So now I have to wait. I got to wait a whole nother, 6 months before I can watch it again?
Yeah, that's a winter sport, so you got to wait till basketball season. Wrestling and basketball go side to side.
I'm actually a big UFC guy, so I can make it. UFC's year round, baby.
Yeah. And it's about that time for that to kick up in the spring.
Yeah. Now, speaking of fighting and mixed martial arts, have you seen this where Ivanka Trump is apparently training in jiu-jitsu? Like, that's actually kind of awesome. For those of you that are watching us online, you can see the footage of her training right here. Apparently, she's and by the way, she's 43 years old. Wearing a blue belt, the first daughter does chokeholds, arm bars, knife disarms, and throws with her instructors, which are three brothers, the Valente brothers. She flips an instructor on the mat, secures a chokehold, and disarms a simulated knife attack. As I'm watching this, I'm like, how jittery is the Secret Service? Because they've obviously got to be in there, and they're watching Ivanka Trump literally fight somebody. I understand it's a controlled environment, and this guy's probably been highly vetted. But you got a guy simulating a knife attack, and they're throwing hands, and they're doing flips and everything else. But I think that's kind of it's almost an honorable thing to do, because if you're Ivanka Trump, you got Secret Service detail. Like, you really got no reason to need to learn to defend yourself.
At least for now, but par for the course, the Bidens just had theirs revoked.
Yeah, that's true.
So they're thinking 4 years down the road, maybe, or 8.
J.D. Vance doesn't win this next election, they're going to be yanking their Secret Service protection. I forgot we set that precedent, so we can't. Yeah. She's got to go ahead and get ready. Oh, yeah. Well, it is what it is. Noto Roofing starting you off today. NOTOroofing.com. Our roofing guys that are out there doing their thing. I mean, we're in storm season right now, which means you could possibly end up with roof damage from the storms, trees fall. If you're like me, man, I got some big trees in my yard. I mean, these things are huge, and they're constantly dropping limbs and everything else. And, it's just in a matter of time before something happens. Maybe something small. It may not even be that big of a deal, but you still need to get it taken care of. And you can do that by getting a free roof inspection from my guys at Noto. They'll come up there. They'll get on your roof. They'll look around, see if they see any problems. They'll even give you a little roof tune-up as a thank you for inviting them out to your house. And they'll take care of you. They'll help you file that insurance claim if you do have problems. And you will be one happy individual. That's right. NOTOroofing.com. 205-848-2299. It's 848-2299, NOTOroofing.com. Make sure you let them know I sent you. Chris and Sammy and the rest of those guys, man, I cannot say enough about them. Just first of all, as roofers, but how much they have supported this show ever since they jumped on board. And I can't, Tony, you may remember whenever Noto actually joined us on the line. It's probably been over a year.
It's probably a year and a half at this point.
Yeah. They've been with us a while,
Chris,
man.
a good guy. They did our roof.
Yeah. Good people. Good people. All right, who else? We're talking about first families, and Tony, you and I have talked about this in the past. The new Michelle Obama podcast, which isn't doing the best. It's not got the best numbers, at least on YouTube. And you don't know what the streaming numbers are for Apple Podcast or Spotify and all that, because those aren't public. And sometimes those numbers, and we've seen this ourselves, sometimes those numbers will surpass your public YouTube views, which everybody can see. Mm-hmm. But I doubt that's the case. I'm sure they're low too. But she was not on her own podcast, but she was on the podcast with Jason Kelsey's wife. And what's Jason Kelsey's wife's name?
Miss Kelsey.
Miss Kelsey, that's right. That's what her name is. So she's on with Jason Kelsey's wife, and I don't even know the name of her podcast. I actually watched the first part of it, and she's got this, the host, Kelsey's wife, she's got this very dry sense of humor that I actually thought was kind of funny. I didn't want to think it was funny, but I was like, That's not bad. It's not a bad gimmick. Anyway, so they do the podcast, and at one point, Michelle Obama says that she was shocked by how unpopular her school lunch program was and blamed it on partisanship instead of the fact the children were saying the school meals were absolutely awful.
Oh, God.
Because here's the thing. The kids don't care about politics. I mean, they probably pay a little more attention to it now because it's become mainstream. But, like, our kids were telling us, yo, these lunches suck. They're no good. And
Andrew, we talked about that one time. Me and you did.
Yeah.
Because I was in high school when that when they first implemented it. Look, I have no problem personally with Michelle Obama, but that one did. I was like, yo, that they flopped on that one.
Yeah.
They flopped on that. That was
Big Mike
that
be
was
flopping.
frustrating.
yeah. So
that was frustrating right there. I can't even sit there and tell you no lie. We were very much not in approval of how she changed the lunch for us.
So yeah, it was not very popular whatsoever. So it's funny to see her go on this podcast with and my wife says Kylie Kelsey. It's funny to see her go on this podcast and say, well, the reason it wasn't popular, it was because it was a Republican-Democrat thing. And it's like, no, it wasn't. It was a kid thing.
It was a bad food thing.
It was the people that were eating the food, the children, that didn't like the food. It just wasn't good.
That wasn't political at all.
I'll be honest. At the end of the day, my kid nowadays, I ask him because it's kind of, you find yourself in this mindset that school lunches just aren't really that good, or at least they're just kind of standard. Like there's nothing special about it.
Yeah.
And I'll ask my kid about how his food at his school is, and he's like, you know what? It's actually pretty good. And I'm like, really? He's like, yeah, actually, everybody loves it. I'm like, dang, bro, that's crazy.
Are they still soy patties for the burgers?
Nah, I hope not, but
they were when I was in school. That was horrible.
I just remember the only thing that was good was like the square pizza or the rectangle pizzas they throw on us.
Yeah,
you know, those were good. And I'd put
that
ketchup
square
on
pizza,
mine.
Man, look, let me just say this: the square pizza, we had a chicken tetrazzini. We had our chicken sandwiches were better than our hamburgers because they did the frozen chicken patties like you get out the grocery store. They did that, and then we had a Mexican pizza for breakfast. Those were top tier. Shout out to McAdoo High School. Top tier McAdoo High School lunches.
Yeah, I don't really remember anything but the pizzas, honestly. Maybe some chicken nuggets or something. I don't know. High school was, or even elementary school was kind of a blur for me. But it's good now. That's what matters, you know? As long as it's not soy patties.
Yeah, no soy patties, please.
No. Don't turn my kid into a soy boy.
No,
All right.
rocking with the soy patties.
So there's that. I got a lot of other stuff to get to. We'll keep it going. Bernie Sanders out and about over the weekend in Colorado in particular, doing a little tour with AOC as they're garnering a lot of attention. A lot of people apparently showing up at their rallies. We'll talk about that and a lot more when we get back on the other side. Y'all hang tight. Here we go, baby. The line. Talk 99.5. Shout out to everybody that's with us on YouTube. And we've even got a multi-stream, Tony. I don't know if we can click that up there to see if we've got... sometimes it doesn't even work. So if it doesn't, you can go back. We're live on YouTube and on Twitter, on my personal Twitter. So if y'all want to watch the radio show, you can do so that way and interact with us on the chat and everything else. So it's just one of those things, man. We get to do this from time to time. We don't do it often, so always happy to interact with y'all when we can. So shout out to everybody. And shout out to my Hey Now Nation on the text line. Y'all always up in the cut. But let me piggyback on Michelle Obama for a minute. No, not literally, but look, I'm talking when we talk about her. I wanted to bleed that over into a headline I saw about Barack Obama and USAID, which has been a big topic of conversation lately. Obviously, you know, the fraud and waste, and everybody's freaking out about it, and yada yada yada. Apparently, during the Obama administration, USAID was being used in a way where it was being earmarked to be sent overseas, for instance, places like Pakistan and everywhere else. But it was turned into a laundering operation to train rent-a-riots. Rent-a-riot, as in paid protesters, right?
Yeah.
And I can't say I'm surprised by this. It came off a podcast with... who was it? Was it Tucker Carlson and
Mike Benz?
Mike Benz?
I think it was Benz.
Is that who it was?
Yeah.
Mike Benz, that's right. Founder of the Foundation for Freedom Online. Oh, no, he was on Joe Rogan. That's what it was. He was on the Joe Rogan podcast, and I want to read you some of what he said. It's very lengthy, so I'm not going to play it, but I just want to read this to you. He said that this was a scandal during the Obama USAID era. We were running a number of rogue USAID operations in Cuba at the time. He said, I'm simply showing the American people where your tax dollars are going and how these things are structured in order to systematically fool you and to fool Congress and to fool the White House. USAID pumped $1.2 billion into, and we sponsored these activist groups and these civil society organizations to learn how to use Facebook, learn how to use Twitter, learn how to use hashtags, learn how to coordinate street protests so that everyone knows where to go, what street to show up on, what kind of slogans to know, what kind of slogans to use in order to create the pro-democracy predicate for it. He talks about how Obama funded a Twitter clone that would be used to push propaganda in Cuba to inspire these protests and overthrow the government. He goes on to explain how Barack Obama overthrew many governments. Then he says, so what they did was they took this exact same thing as Twitter, same user interface, same everything, and retweet button called Zunzino. Pronounce that for me. Zunzunio. There we go. You know, see, I need one of you at the studio during the radio show when I can't pronounce words.
I don't even know if that's correct. It just looks like that to me, and I made it sound good.
Zunzunio. I like that. So it's called Zunzunio, and essentially it's like it's like a Temu Twitter, right? It's just a Twitter copycat interface program that they were using, that they were funding with USAID. Zunzunio is a Cuban slang word for hummingbird, so it just means, you know, it's a bird. It's like the Twitter bird. This is obviously before Elon Musk bought it. He said the whole thing was about, the whole trick about it was you have to make it look like it's coming from the Cubans if you're going to do this operation. They started running this in 2010, right during the Arab Spring. I mean, with what we've talked about over the past several weeks, I mean, is it a surprise to anybody that we were still in the business as of late of overthrowing governments?
Not at all.
I mean, we already know. This goes back to 2010, and we know that during the Obama administration that he and his people surrounding him, Victoria Nuland and everybody else, were in the business of overthrowing the Ukrainian government. And part of me wonders, and they may even discuss that in this podcast, I just didn't get that far, if they were using this same program, this same Twitter copycat to start the riots in Ukraine in 2014, when all of that went down and that government was overthrown and the Obama administration put the people they wanted in power in Ukraine, which set up all kinds of other stuff, including Joe Biden and Hunter Biden and all this other stuff that led us to where we are today with Ukraine. I mean, it all ties together. And one thing I think is needed to be understood is that a lot of the things we see the government doing, while it may just be the headline of the day, that a lot of it has been years and years in the making. Like, these people have been working on this, and it all just goes back so far. Like, if you want to know where a particular situation started, you may have to go back 10 years. You may have to go back two or three presidents to figure out where it started, why it's happening, what's causing it, what's the ultimate end game. And it's enough to make your head explode. Just like looking through the Federal Reserve stuff. You start looking through the Rothschild and everything else. It makes your head want to explode.
Yeah.
You know, that's why Tony Gump's crazy, because he started looking into that kind of stuff, and he's never been the same since.
I wish I still didn't know, and I was ignorant. It'd be much better.
Maybe you need one of those Men in Black deals where they zap you and you just forget everything you knew.
That would be nice.
We could get a hold of one of those. So anyway, that's an interesting story. That'll probably catch some legs. It's one of these stories that nobody's really talking about as of now, but we'll see where that goes. Then, as I mentioned before the break, you had this Bernie Sanders thing where he and AOC are running around doing rallies. They did a rally in Denver. And according to Bernie Sanders, there were 50, what did he say? 34,000 attendees. That was the official number they gave. 34,000 attendees. He said it's the biggest crowd he's ever seen. Biggest crowd he's ever had, and it says a lot because it's not like he's running for president or anything. Now, we've seen Trump with larger crowds than that, but, you know, Bernie Sanders, hey, he's proud of it, whatever. Turns out it wasn't 34,000 attendees. It was actually closer to 20,000. Still big, but not record-breaking, and not the number that Bernie Sanders said. If you go back to when Trump first came into office in 2017, what was the big scandal right off the bat with Sean Spicer, the first press secretary? It was the amount of people that showed up to the inauguration.
Yep.
They were like, oh, he's lying about it. And whether or not, I mean, Sean Spicer probably was wrong, but the media just blew up about it. Because at that point, they didn't really have a whole lot on Trump. They were just getting started. And it was wall-to-wall coverage about Sean Spicer said Donald Trump had the most attended inauguration in history. Can you believe it? Can you believe it?
Now, going from 20,000 to 34,000, that's a 70% lie uptick right there. 70%.
Yep. And, again, still big, $20,000. I mean, 20,000 people, should I say. Maybe it cost him $20,000. I don't know. But here's what's revealing about the whole thing, is that a whopping 84% of these devices, so they did a geo-tracking thing, or what they called astroturfing, where they track the signals of the cell phone signals that are at this rally. And they've done it, and the FBI uses it. I'm sure the CIA uses it. Dinesh D'Souza used it during 2000 Mules, and once he put that documentary out, we were told that was an extremely unreliable method of research. And then we found out the FBI was using the same exact method to hunt down January 6 protesters.
Yeah.
So that's the thing they're using. And it says that 84% of those devices had shown up at 9 or more other protests, including Antifa BLM events, pro-Hamas events, pro-Palestinian demonstrations, and Kamala Harris campaign stops. Now, how many times did we see at Kamala Harris rallies buses pulling up to the event venue? Not pulling up to the event, but pulling up like a mile from the event venue because they want to be seen, right?
Every time.
Every single time it seemed like we saw buses pulling up to Kamala Harris rallies. And these people, like if you had an event in, what was the one? I don't know if it was in like Savannah, Georgia. It was somewhere, and maybe towards South Georgia. It was a more rural area. And there was a YouTuber, I guess it was a YouTuber, kind of like an independent journalist, and he was out there interviewing the people that were getting off the bus. And he was asking them, hey, where are you from? You know, blah, 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 blah. And all of them, all the people that he came across, including people that weren't getting off the bus, were from Atlanta, which was like 2.5, 3 hours away. It was nobody from this town that was attending the Kamala Harris rally, even though the media was painting it that way. They're like, man, she can go anywhere and pack the place out. Well, of course she can. You're busing the people in. And that's what's happening here. It says that over 30% had attended 20 or more of those protests, the Antifa, the BLM, pro-Hamas, pro-Palestinian demonstrations. Data analysis says that the crowd was anything but organic. The majority were tied to activist networks like Disruption Project, Indivisible, Democratic Socialist of America, Rise and Resist, and Troublemakers, all reportedly funded by Act Blue. And, get this part, this is the most amazing part, and receiving some backing from USAID. Everybody gets money. Why have I not gotten money from USAID? This is crazy.
Now, you put in money to USAID.
I know. Can I get like a USAID tax return or something?
And I got to say, Atlanta's got to be a major hub for these protesters because there's a lot that happens out of Atlanta.
If you look and you see, Tony, you see the crowd there. For those of you that are watching us live, click that video. And, okay, so that looks like a lot of people.
It doesn't look like 34,000. It looks more like 15 to 20.
Right.
Yeah.
But that crowd is not this organic grassroots thing that Bernie Sanders is constantly talking about. You remember when he got called out and they said, you know, you're taking money from Big Pharma and everything else. And he was like, no, all of our money is grassroots. Small dollar donations. And it's like, no, you're just like everybody else on Capitol Hill.
Seems like the more upset they get, the more they took.
Right. Bernie Sanders is no humble middle class guy. I hate to break it to everybody. He's got 3 homes, and he is a very wealthy guy. And there's him and AOC. And so these guys, and I can imagine that somebody like AOC has no idea that this is going on. Like, she probably does think this is organic because she's oblivious to everything. So you can see a smile in her face. Like, she's very excited. She's like, look what we did, Bird. We did it. We did it. And all those people behind him are like, thank you for the check. Thank you, USAID. Thank you, Act Blue. But
it's got to be a couple hundred a pop for each visit, you know, at least.
Yeah, I got to imagine. You know, free lunch. Maybe.
Free signs they already made for you.
But like, you get a free bus ride, a Michelle Obama school lunch, and you get to hang out with like-minded people all day.
Yeah.
That's what you get. That's what you get. All right, I got to hit this break, but first, let me tell you about Alabama Professional Services. That's right, APS. You see the trucks out on the road all the time, driving around, that beautiful APS logo. You need to hit these guys up. I'll tell you why. Several reasons. One, spraying for bugs. I always tell you about that. You got to get sprayed for bugs. As homeowners, we have to do that. You don't want bugs crawling all over the place, especially as the weather changes. Foundation repair. I've told you the signs of foundation problems. Doors and windows not opening and shutting like they used to. Cracks in the brick, things of this nature. The lintel over your garage sagging. Could be a sign. Also, cracks in your driveway and basement waterproofing. Crawl space encapsulation, all important things. Call them up, let them know we sent you, and let those guys take care of you. 205-951-9717. That's the number. 205-951-9717 and online, alabamaprofessional.com. Back after this.
All right, bro.
So, I'm kind of proud of my Bernie Sanders impression, not because it's good. I don't necessarily think it's good, but I've had a couple people who's like, that's pretty good.
I liked it.
I mean, that's just easy to do. You're just an angry old white guy, like, oh, Donald Trump with the Elon Musk, and you just shake your head while you're doing it. I feel like it adds the effect. That's what he sounds like in my head, anyway. But he's not. Listen, he's not always complaining about Donald Trump. Sometimes he actually praises Donald Trump. He was on with Jonathan. What's the guy's name? John Carl of ABC News on ABC this week, and John Carl asked him if there was anything that he agrees with when it comes to Donald Trump.
Is there anything that you think Trump has done right?
Yeah, I mean, I think cracking down on fentanyl, making sure our borders are stronger. Look, nobody thinks that illegal immigration is appropriate. And I happen to think we need comprehensive immigration reform. But I don't think that it's appropriate for people to be coming across the border illegally. So we've got to work now on comprehensive immigration reform. The idea that Trump has, I don't know what his latest numbers are, he wants to deport 20 million people who are in this country who are undocumented. Well, you do that, you destroy the entire country, because I got news for you. Trump's billionaire friends are not going to pick the crops in California that feed us. They're not going to work in meat packing houses. That's what undocumented people are doing. So we need a variety of programs, guest worker programs, but mostly comprehensive immigration reform.
But you know, illegal immigration, it exploded under Biden, and it had been high for times under Trump as well, but it exploded under Biden, and nothing was really done until his last year in office when he was...
Yep, should have done much better, no argument.
Whoa, there's big words, Bernie. All of a sudden, he believes in stronger borders. Did you know that?
Apparently I do now.
That's odd. Because when you take that Bernie Sanders and compare him to Bernie Sanders of, say, I don't know, 3 months ago, it's a much different Bernie Sanders.
Yeah, I mean, I think cracking down on fentanyl, making sure our borders are stronger. Look, nobody thinks that illegal immigration is appropriate. Look, I think that the wall is an absurd idea. I think it's a waste of money. I think it just fans Trump's illusions.
America cannot simply build walls. We look foolish to the rest of the world. We look foolish to Mexico.
Let's be honest, he's just a life-size Muppet. So he's not even speaking on behalf of himself. Somebody's hands up his ass and saying all that for him. Right. He's just a puppet. The world is a waste of money, but yes, I agree with Donald Trump. We need stronger borders.
Yeah, no, I didn't take any money. Yes, well, I took a little money.
And he did that. He actually did that when he was in the committee here.
Yeah, and he cracked a smile too. He knew.
Yeah, he knows. Like, the gig is up. Like, we know. And actually, you'd probably be far more respected if you were just transparent about it and just say, yeah, I took money from these people, so what? You know, I'm still trying to do my best to stick up for my people. Just like, you know, the old saying goes about they should just start dressing like NASCAR drivers and wearing the patches of their, you know, biggest donors on their jacket,
that
on their
would
suits.
be awesome.
Yeah, it's like, just let us know, man. Let us know. But there's people in Congress still to this day, and I've gone down this road before. We have got to get to a point where new blood is entering politics, and we're seeing a little bit of that. Some on the left, but we're seeing it on the right, even more recently, of younger people. I say younger. I say maybe 55 and younger would be new generation politicians. But these old ones ain't cutting it. And the benefit, by the way, when you bring in new blood, that's always going to benefit the Republican Party and the right, because the young blood that comes in for the Democrat Party is absolutely cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Like they're going the opposite direction that they should be, where they should be coming back towards the center as the younger Republicans are doing. The ones in the Democrat Party, the new ones in the Democrat Party, they're just going further and further left. And over the past 4 years, as we know, they've completely hijacked their party and have caused some of these older Democrats to go far out left as well. But these old Democrats and Republicans, I mean, you think Mitch McConnell, for instance, who was at a press conference the other day, and somebody asked him questions about tariffs, and he just stood there and stared at her. And his assistant was like, Senator, they're talking about tariffs. Oh, Senator, they're talking about tariffs. Oh, yeah, I don't like tariffs. It's like, what are you doing? We don't need you here. But yeah, it's on both sides. But the difference is the new generation has hijacked the left and has caused them to be even more liberal than they once were, which is not a good thing. And you've got people like Bernie Sanders. You got people like Tampon Tim, who is out here. He's a type of guy that's always going to say crazy stuff. You know, he's like that. They always relate him to that uncle you got, the fun-loving uncle. But he's more of the uncle that says inappropriate things and makes everybody uncomfortable. He's that guy.
Yeah, the horse whisperer.
And the uncle that everybody's like, okay, he's totally gay. I mean, we need to get Uncle Tampon Tim to admit he's gay. Anyway, so he's been out doing a tour as well. They're going to GOP districts just to win over voters. And at one of his recent ones, and I think we played this on the show, he said that he was celebrating the Elon Musk or the Tesla stock going down, and was telling people, hey, you know, take a dental floss and get that Tesla logo. Like, that's going to make a difference. Take the Tesla logo off your Tesla. Like, it's still a Tesla, buddy. Yeah. But he got some heat for that. I think probably rightfully so, even if he's not calling for violence. I mean, you know, it's kind of silly to be in a position of leadership and to celebrate the demise of an American car company that you once loved because they were the leader in clean energy. I don't know. I think it's a bad look. So he caught heat for it. He goes on stage, I guess, in another one of his little town halls and says this.
This guy bugs me in a way that is probably unhealthy. And but I have to be careful about being a smartass. I was making a joke. These people have no sense of humor. They are the most literal people. But my point was they're all mad, and I, said something I didn't, probably shouldn't have about a company. He is agreed. So I make the case. They're all butthurt about the Tesla thing, but they don't care the disrespect they have shown to employees at the Minneapolis VA who care for our veterans, and they fire them. They don't care. So we will have the conversation about efficiency in government and about doing that, but none of us believe for a second they're thinking about this. Oh, we fired everybody that's dealing with Ebola. And then he went into the Oval Office wearing a hat. I don't ever want to hear anybody talk about decorum and respect or that. Wearing a hat, coming in there, richest man in the world. Again, this maybe just me. If I'm the richest man in the world, I'm like out on the streets handing out the money. It'd be fun as hell just to help people out.
Okay, listen, nobody believes Tim Walz, if he was filthy rich, would be out handing money on the street. And I would much rather somebody go in the White House with a hat than putting tampons in my son's bathroom. Okay? I think that's a no-brainer. Anyway, these people, man. These people. If you want to get in, 205-545-9950, we'll do it. Remember, we're live on YouTube and Twitter at Andrew McLean Who. If you want to get in, we got a little chat going on. Shout out to everybody that's hanging out with us. Matthew, Bree, Boomer, Scott, all you guys. Jerry, Leslie. Thank y'all for hanging out with us. We're going to hit this break. It's hour number 2 coming up next. The Live Monday edition Talk 99.5. Y'all hang tight. Hey now, ladies and gentlemen. Hey now. 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 Welcome to our number 2 of the line. Talk 99.5, talk995.com, and AndrewMcLeanWho.com. Tony Gump, can we pull up AndrewMcLeanWho.com just to show the people? If, I don't know that we've ever showed it before. And it's got an extremely old picture of me on it, which I need to change. I need to take some new photos. But it's got all of our stuff. Look how, God, it looks so evil in that picture. It's got all of our stuff on there, all of our videos. If you go back to the top, there's actually links to listen to the station live. Listen live. Where's it say? Oh, the line, Monday through Friday. Oh, yes, it says listen live. There's the archive show. So any of the 99.5 shows that you missed, you can listen to them right there. And then the audio platforms for the Over the Line podcast. And down below that is all your videos and all kinds of stuff. There's even that Jim Butters episode is up there. All kinds of stuff. The socials at the bottom. And I think at the very bottom, there's a place to subscribe. So, yeah, you put your email in there. Send it, and then anytime we need to get in touch with y'all, like send out a mass email to everybody about some important life update, like if one of us gets pregnant or something, we'll send y'all an email. So
is that still possible, or did they get rid of that?
No, it's still possible.
Okay.
It's 2024, man. Anything is possible. Anything is possible. Anyway, 205-545-9950. That'll get you in. Darian, did you say we had somebody on the phone? What did you say his name was?
Yes, sir. We got Ernest. I'm about to pod Ernest up so we can get him rolling with us.
All right, Ernest. Well, what's up, buddy?
Hey, Andrew. Speaking of Tim Walz, he was on the governor of California, Gavin Newsom's podcast, saying that he could beat up a lot of the Trump supporters. So Glenn Jacobs, a mayor out of Tennessee, took him up on this challenge. You know who Glenn Jacobs is?
Yeah, that's Kane, mayor of Knoxville.
Yeah. So he took him up on his challenge and said, let's do this for charity, Governor Walz. We'll take half. We'll give half of your charity. We'll have half from my charity, and we'll do something good with the money. So far, Tim Walz has not accepted this offer.
Yeah, for somebody that's going around saying he can beat everybody up, you would think he'd take him up on that. I think it was $10,000 that Glenn Jacobs said he put up in a charity. Was it a fight or was it a debate? Or did he actually say he wanted? It
was a fight.
It was a fight.
It was supposed to be an actual wrestling match.
Oh, say I want to see that
with a ring.
I say
I'm betting that. Glenn Jacobs could probably beat Tim Walz with one hand tied behind his back.
Oh yeah, he could beat Tim Walz with he could beat Tim Walz with both hands.
Him through the ring.
Yeah, he could beat Tim Walz with both hands tied behind his back with a tampon string. You didn't think that was funny? That was uncalled for anyway.
These Democrats, they talk a big game, but when it comes to the real deal, they ain't up to the challenge.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they're all talk, buddy. They are all talk.
Too many soy lunches.
Yeah, that's right. They're running on soy. Yeah, good point, Ernest. I appreciate you, buddy. Next up, I think we have Jim. Jim's on the line. What's up, Jim?
Hey now. Well, I got back about a day and a half ago from Nepal.
Oh, this is Jim that was going up the mountain, right?
That's right, yeah.
Yes, sir. And I darn near gave you a call from there, but I couldn't get a connection at 20,669 feet.
God, you would think that that's the one place you could get a good signal, you know?
You would think so, but we had a great trip, got a lot accomplished, and if I may, real quick, one of the reasonings of this trip was to show that I donated kidneys 6 years ago to a stranger after making a promise to a dying friend. And one of the purposes of this climb was to show would-be potential donors that if a skinny 61-year-old, 115-pound soaking wet can climb 20,669 feet, most likely they can live a normal life if they donate.
Man, that is good.
Wow.
Let's can we give Jim a round of applause? That's fantastic. Yes.
So, you know, we 6 years ago, we did some stories in the Birmingham area. We did some stories around some other places and stuff like that. And we're going to try to get something made up out of this. We're going to contact a few people. And, you know, the more people that we could bring to the table about living donation, especially in the Birmingham area, a lot of obesity, a lot of diabetes, not enough donors. And you've got UAB, which is one of the greatest hospitals in all of America for kidney donation.
Yeah.
So we just, for my PSA, and sorry not to hijack anything because I love what you're doing. And boy, I tell you what, I can go on a few rants one of these days when we get together on a few of these topics. But I just appreciate you letting me talk about it, Andrew. And this is just as important to me almost as the political spectrum that we're living in right now. And, you know, we've talked before about how I feel about a bunch of this bull crap. So, but just look forward. Hopefully we can get some more done, save some lives, and, you know, show people that they can do it. I mean, 20,669 feet, I didn't make it to the summit, but the summit was within my reach, and then my feet went frozen and didn't thaw out for almost a day and a half. So it just wasn't worth losing a foot.
Well, listen, that is awesome. That is inspiring, impressive. All the adjectives I can come up with that would describe it. And make sure you hit us up on your next adventure too, because we would like to kind of hang with you as you go through these things.
I tell you what, if I had a regular SIM card, I would have called the show during that time because it's a 13-and-a-half-hour difference, and I would have liked to have called and talked to you. But over there, you know, communication and stuff. I didn't think you'd pick up your Facebook phone if I tried to call in the middle of the show. So
yeah.
I didn't go that direction. But you know, I'll keep you guys in touch. I appreciate you, Andrew, and thank you for letting me talk about this because it's a topic that a lot of people are going through and suffering, and we can do more.
For sure, for sure. Jim, I appreciate you, buddy.
You got it, my brother. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
There you go. Jim with one heck of a story, man.
Wow.
That's wild.
I have trouble going up tall ladders. I don't know how I went 20,000 feet.
Yeah. Imagine we just got finished with a president that couldn't even walk up the stairs, and here's Jim going up a mountain.
Yeah.
You know? Crazy. And I want to say, actually, that I saw on social media, I guess it was probably Facebook, pictures of somebody going up a mountain, and I guess that probably was Jim. I'm assuming I'm Facebook friends with him. So, yeah, something I couldn't do, but here's Jim, kidney donor. Make it happen, man. Just, that's impressive. That's impressive. I'll have to go back through and see if I can find some of those photos and videos. So Jim sounds like he's in good shape.
Yeah, donating kidneys is a great thing to do. Just don't donate both of them. That's a bad thing if you do that.
Yeah, because we had our buddy David Lynham had to get a donor to save his life. He had a kidney deal, and fortunately he found somebody, and it's just it's one of those things. I mean, you know, we've got all these complaints about our medical system and everything else, and a lot of it's deserved, but we're so much better off than a lot of other places. I saw a video earlier this morning of a Canadian woman who has a spinal tumor and possibly a brain tumor. And she needed to get an MRI. Her doctor said, you need to get an MRI to check on this to see if this is a brain tumor. That's kind of a big deal, right? So she gets her, confirmation in the mail as to when her MRI is going to be, and it is in like spring of 2026. And she's like, what? 2026? Over a year from now is when I'm going to get my MRI to see if I've got a brain tumor? Like, that's absurd. But she said that is a result of us having our free health care. She said our health care is free as long as you can afford to wait on it. And if you got a brain tumor, you can't really wait on it. But, again, it is what it is. Speaking of people in good shape, well, how about people that are not in good shape? So I posted this over the weekend. The Pope. All right. We know that the Pope has been in bad shape as of late. He's been in and out of the hospital. He's been battling against double pneumonia, bouts with kidney failure, ironically. But they have assured us, the Pope is all right. He's on the mend. He's going to be okay. Well, he makes his first public appearance over the weekend. Apparently, he's back at the Vatican. And I don't know what stage of healthy this is, but I've never seen it before. The Pope looks
statue-like, sort of.
Wow.
Robot?
Yeah, is that even real? Is that an AI robot?
There could be somebody behind him moving his hands and head.
That's what it looks like. When people do these things where you have somebody stand in front of you and they put their arms behind their back and you put your arms through their arms and you do the thing. That's what that looks like.
It's like an SNL skit or something.
Oh, no. And, I mean, we don't wish ill on anybody, even though we think Pope Francis is a bad person. But that dude's not in good shape.
He still looks better than Jimmy Carter did at the end.
Yeah. He does. He looks dead. I mean, if we're being honest. He's like, look at me. I'm okay.
Oh, boy.
Everybody stay calm. I'm all good.
Realistically, he can't have more than 6 months left.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
Yeah.
I don't think so. But, hey, whatever. At least he's still around to tell us how we need to open our borders and allow any and every illegal come into this country, right?
Yeah.
At least we got 6 more months of that. All right, let me hit this break. 205-545-9950. If you want to get in, that's the way to do it. It's the Line Talk 99.5. Back after this. Coverall RV Services, my boy Dylan. I forgot to give you a heads up on that, Tony.
I got
That's
you.
my bad. I'm so used to the radio.
I watched it.
So we got to think. So since we're doing two things at once, we got the radio side, and I got to tip Tony off that we're coming back from the break for the YouTube.
Yeah.
And I didn't tell him. So
This time you had your back to me, but I figured it out.
You figured it out. Tony knows my body language at this point, which is, when you're in radio, that's what your producer has to do. Your producer has to understand your body language, and that's when a radio show really starts running smoothly. It may just be a simple point or, holding up a number or whatever. They can even tell by the tone of your voice, like, which direction you're about to go, like if you're getting close to a break or whatever.
Yeah.
And Tony's figured that out. He's cracked the code, baby. Coverall RV Services. My boy Dylan, I want y'all to reach out to him for all your RV needs, man. It's that time of year. If y'all got RVs, I know you want to get out and about. You want to be traveling, going to the lake, hitting the campground, maybe going across the country, maybe going to see the Grand Canyon. By the way, I saw a video the other day that studied how many gallons of pee it would take to fill the Grand Canyon. Do you know how many gallons of pee it would be?
How many?
I don't remember. I just remember.
Probably the same amount of gallons as water.
Probably, yes. And I don't know why they used urine for that study, but
I
that's
saw
what
that
they
video on social media. That
See?
was kind of, it was interesting and weird at the same time.
And it would take a lot of people to have that much pee. A lot of water drinking people. Anyway, I'm sure Dylan appreciates me talking about that in his live ad. But hey, listen. Put this number down in your phone if you need RV work done, patch work, engine work, plumbing work. I don't care what it is. Pop-up, campers, recreational vehicles of any kind. Dylan's got you covered. He'll come out to you and get it handled for you. No problemo. Here's the phone number, 205-224-2268. It's 205-224-2268, and I'm looking at his Facebook right now, Coverall RV Services. You can his last post from March 1st was, or maybe this is not his last post, but one of his recent posts was a bathroom. He said this was a bathroom remodel we did due to a leaking skylight. The back wall and ceiling had to be removed and replaced. And I guess over time, with the water gets in, and because in a lot of cases, if your RV is just sitting and you're not using it, maybe you don't check on it on a regular basis. If there's a problem like a leak, it just builds up and it causes more problems. So you've got a bigger issue on your hands. But Dylan's the one to get you. Gosh, this thing looks brand new. Did such a good job. All right, 224-2268 is his number, so y'all hit him up. Let's talk about a little bit of Ukraine, shall we? There were American officials meeting in Ukraine. They weren't meeting in Ukraine. They were meeting Ukrainians in Saudi Arabia on the eve of the second round of U.S.-Russia peace talks. There wasn't a whole lot of information that came out of those peace talks. I'm looking at full ceasefire was agreed to by Zelensky, but Putin only committed to an energy and infrastructure attack pause for 30 days. Since then, all right, so think about this. Ceasefire is like, don't attack energy and infrastructure. That's the ceasefire. That's all we're worried about. Just don't attack those two things during these 30 days. What do you think Vladimir Zelensky did after that ceasefire was agreed to? He fired rockets at a Russian energy facility. They started bombing Russian energy facilities, which is the exact same. It's the exact thing that they said not to do, according to the ceasefire. So he breached the agreement right off the bat. He's been, if any president ever that has been in hostile peace agreement talks, I guarantee you none of them have ever dealt with somebody that is as much of a headache as Vladimir Zelensky. The guy's a spoiled brat.
Oh, yeah.
And he is doing everything he can to railroad. And I think he's doing this on behalf of other people. Obviously himself. He's become rich from this. He's got a nice home in Florida that he's going to be able to flee to as his country gets destroyed. And, millions of people are dying on both sides.
I still believe this whole time he's been doing what other people have been telling him to do.
Yeah.
To this day.
Absolutely. 100%. And to get on, I mean, not to rehash the whole thing where he showed up at the White House, but, you know, he's shown the rest of the world kind of where he's at on this. Like, that he cares nothing about peace, no matter how many times he says he does. Actions speak louder than words. Everybody knows that. On the other side, the Trump administration, Mike Waltz in particular, who is not Mike Waltz, Steve Witkoff, who is the special envoy for the Middle East, and he's helping with these peace talks between the two, actually spoke to Vladimir Putin and tried to get a feel for where they were at and if they would be willing to come to the table for a peace agreement. You know, because you got to feel people out. In this case in particular, you got to see what Zelensky wants, what he wants the end of this thing to look like. Then you got to go over here and you got to see what Putin wants the end of this thing to look like. And then you go back and you say, all right, well, they want this, why don't we meet here? It's a pretty simple process at the end of the day, at least, you know, on paper. So Witkoff goes over to Russia, talks to Vladimir Putin, and some of the stuff they talked about, he related on Tucker Carlson's podcast, and I thought this was absolutely fascinating. Listen to what he says that Vladimir Putin did.
In the second visit that I had, it got personal. The president, President Putin, had commissioned a beautiful portrait of President Trump from the leading Russian artist, and actually gave it to me and asked me to take it home to President Trump, which I brought home and delivered to him. It's been reported in the paper, but it was such a gracious moment, and told me a story, Tucker, about how when the president was shot, he went to his local church and met with his priest and prayed for the president, not because he was the president of he could become the president of the United States, but because he had a friendship with him and he was praying for his friend. It was, I mean, can you imagine sitting there and listening to these kind of conversations? And I came home and delivered that message to our president and delivered the painting. And he was clearly touched by it. So this is the kind of connection that we've been able to reestablish through, by the way, a simple word called communication.
Fascinating. So Donald Trump gets shot in Butler, Pennsylvania. And Vladimir Putin had a concern because he had made it clear, you know, he respected Donald Trump more than he respected Joe Biden. That he goes into his church and he prays for Donald Trump after he's shot. I think that's pretty amazing. Do you think you'd get a story out of Vladimir Zelensky like that?
I don't think so. But the left's
not.
just going to say Putin's just playing a role or whatever.
Yeah. Well, look, Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin are big buddies. They're praying for each other. You can't get any closer than that. They're colluding. They're colluding with God. Donald Trump, Vladimir Putin, and God are all colluding together. All right, let me hit this break. Coming back on the other side, bottom of the hour. Back after this. Here we go. Back at it. The Line Talk 99.5. By the way, I need to do a better job of reminding y'all about this. And I thought about it because I looked over the text line. And the text line is so quiet today. Usually y'all are blowing it up. And I'm like, oh, it's because everybody's in the chat on YouTube.
Yeah.
So if anybody else at the station's looking at the chat line, they're probably like, God, man, Andrew's listeners just dropped off. Like, nobody listens to a show anymore. So shout out to y'all that are watching us on YouTube right now. We're doing this live, baby, all 3 hours live. And we don't get to do this every day, so it's kind of a special occasion. We want y'all to come over. If you do, make sure you subscribe. All you have to do is go to your little YouTube app. If you're listening to us right now, do it. Let's all do it together. YouTube app, all right, pull it up and type in Over the Line, Andrew McLean in your little search bar. And when you do that, I'm going to do it with you. Over the Line, Andrew McLean. And it'll pop up. You'll see our channel. Click our channel. And you'll see the live video right there on top. And you can watch us there. Or you can watch us on Twitter at Andrew McLean, who is my Twitter handle. At Andrew McLean, who just make sure if you're on the YouTube, you subscribe, hit the notification bell, and follow us because we're doing a podcast this evening, aren't we?
Yeah, we got one like about an hour or two after this show.
Yeah. That's right, baby. Brand new podcast, so don't miss out on that. We're doing it on Monday. We have to do it every other Monday because Young Diddy, as he used to be called, he's got drum lessons with the famous Gary Asher.
Yeah. Well, everybody that tunes in tonight, they're going to like the show. We got a good one ready.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. And we've got the post show for members only. So make sure you know about the members only thing. We'll kind of tell you about it after the show. Let me start with, I tell you what, let me start with TCW. Trent was out at my house Saturday. He came by. I got some projects that I need taken care of, and he and his guys are going to do it. The main one is my wife, who wants nothing in life other than a swimming pool, wants a new pool. And does anybody want to guess where we would be buying this pool? Guess what store?
I don't know.
Costco, of course.
A pool at Costco?
We're going to
really?
buy a pool at Costco. And so in order to get this pool, we're going to have to flatten some land. In my backyard, it's kind of sloped to where, like, we had one in one place which was a little more flat and didn't have to do a lot of leveling, but we want to go on the other side of the yard where there's not trees over it. And so it's much more sloped. So it's going to take some kind of heavy-duty work for them to dig it out and level it out and all that. So they came over and did that, measured it. We got everything figured out. And just got to hang out with Trent for a little bit and catch up. And I tell you, man, those guys are just the absolute best in the business when it comes to outdoor construction. It could be something as simple as flattening land. It could be hauling some rocks for your driveway. It could be building new walkways and patios and retaining walls and everything else. All of that, they got you covered. And they will come out to you if you'll call him. And I'm going to give you Trent's direct number. If you'll call him and say, hey, I heard about you on Andrew McLean's show. Wanted to see if you can come out here and give me an estimate. They will do that. He will come out there himself. You show him what you want done, and they'll get you an estimate up. And then you decide if you want to go that route. It's as simple as that. 205-389-3536. That's the number. Remember, you're getting to direct touch with Trent. 205-389-3536. TCW Construction. You can see some of their work on Facebook and all that jazz. In that Steve Witkoff clip we just played, where we now know that Donald Trump is colluding with God and Vladimir Putin, he mentioned a painting. So apparently Putin took the top artist in all of Russia and created a painting of Donald Trump. And I don't think this painting's been made public, so I don't know if it's a normal portrait or if it's a portrait of him with the famous fist in the air with the blood running down his face. But there's another portrait floating out there of Donald Trump that is drawing his anger. And this painting resides at the Colorado State Capitol. And it is a very, it is a somewhat unflattering image of Donald Trump. For those of you on YouTube and Twitter, you can see this image right now. How do I describe this? He looks pudgy.
Yeah, it looks like he gained like 25 pounds and he's not smiling at all.
He's very, very round. His head is very round. I mean, the hair looks about right, but this does not look like him whatsoever.
His face is posing like they used to back in the early 1800s and things when you weren't allowed to smile for the picture.
Yeah.
And everybody got ready that way.
So, of course, Donald Trump doesn't like this. He doesn't like to be depicted in I don't want to say negative, but in an inappropriate way, I guess, in his eyes. He's constantly depicted as a horrible person and Hitler and a Nazi and the devil and everything else. But this is an official photo for the state capital of Colorado, and he didn't like it. So he put out on Truth Social this. He said, nobody likes a bad picture or painting of themselves, but the one in Colorado in the state capitol put up by the governor along with all other presidents was purposefully distorted to a level that even I perhaps have never seen before. The artist also did President Obama, and he looks wonderful, but the one on me is truly the worst. She must have lost all her talent as she got older. In any event, I would much prefer not having a picture than having this one, but many people from Colorado have called and written to complain. In fact, they are actually angry about it. I am speaking on their behalf to the radical left governor, Jared Polis, who is extremely weak on crime, in particular with respect to Trendy Aragua, which particularly took over Aurora, Colorado. He said, quote, "Don't worry, we saved it." To take it down, Jared should be ashamed of himself. Now, can we Google real quick the Barack Obama Colorado state capitol portrait? Because he said the one of Obama looks good. He says it looks wonderful. So hit images and see if we got. See all of those. He's had. Oh, here you go to the right, top right. All right, so this is the one of Obama compared to the one of Trump that's at the Colorado State Capitol. Yeah. I actually see the similar styles here, but you did make Donald Trump too pudgy on this one.
Yeah, they didn't add any extra weight to Obama, that's for sure.
No, he's right though. Obama's looks good.
Yeah.
But this Donald Trump one's bad. I don't like it. And he doesn't like it. So I say force him to redo it. Redo it. I mean, you don't even have to repaint it. Just put it in the AI machine. Cut it loose.
That was done on purpose. There's no other reason.
God Lord. Yeah, I believe they did too. They're like, hey, watch, I'm going to make, and they're in Colorado, so they're all like super high. They're like, dude, I'm going to make Trump fat.
It reminds me of those bias drawers in the courtrooms when the cameras weren't allowed in. They draw out Trump's picture and stuff, and sometimes it was better or worse, kind of thing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Good stuff, man. Good stuff. Anyway, I just needed to put that out there since they were talking about paintings. I thought that was fascinating. Other states. Let's go other states, other liberal states, if you will. The state of Maine. Now, Tony Gump, you will recall that the governor of Maine, when we started the Title IX, or Trump started the Title IX stuff, or the men and women's sports and all this, and most people agreed, like, no, men don't need to be in women's sports. Well, they pushed back. Maine's governor pushed back, and she said, there is no way. We are not abiding by the new federal law. We are going to allow transgender men in women's sports. As a matter of fact, there was an altercation. I call it an altercation, call it a confrontation, whatever, between Trump, as he had all 50 governors at the White House, and he was giving a speech. He gets to the part of the speech where he's talking about this particular issue, and he had been tipped off that Maine's governor is going to defy the order. And the the interaction between these two is, I think, an interaction, at least in the world of presidents and governors, that's going to go down in history.
The NCAA has complied immediately, by the way. That's good. But I understand Maine. Is Maine here, the governor of Maine? Well, are you not going to comply with it?
I'm complying with state and federal laws.
We are the federal law. Well, you better do it. You better do it because you're not going to get any federal funding at all if you don't. And by the way, your population, even though it's somewhat liberal, although I did very well there, your population doesn't want men playing in women's sports. So you better comply because otherwise you're not getting any federal funding.
See you in court.
Every state, good. I'll see you in court. I look forward to that. That should be a real easy one. And enjoy your life after governor, because I don't think you'll be in elected politics.
Yeah, it's so good. I love that so much.
Hey, Andrew.
The NCAA.
Yeah. What's up?
Hey, didn't we talk about this Friday? I said he's going to give you one or two sound bites that you got to run with every time.
Oh, yeah. There's no doubt about it. So what it comes down to, so that they have that interaction, time goes on. Trump says, you're not going to get your funding. We're going to pull your funding if you don't comply with federal law. It's pretty simple. I mean, in most cases, it would happen the same way. Well, needless to say, money talks and BS walks. The University of Maine has now agreed to ban men from women's sports in order to keep that federal funding.
Well, how about that?
It's like magic. And that's the way all of this works. First of all, Donald Trump knows that's how it works, that it's all about the money. I mean, these people, that's why half of them, more than half of them, are in politics in the first place. They're there to enrich themselves and to gain power. And so when the money starts to get taken away, because on Maine's front, okay, University of Maine, for instance, if you're at the top of the food chain, and all of a sudden, there's no longer, this, that, and the other in programs, and things are getting cut because you don't have the money. They're going to be looking at you because you're at the top of the food chain. Same thing for the governor. You're at the top of the food chain for the whole state. If things start going sour and people don't start getting the things that they're expecting to get, you're going to catch some heat. And what does that do? That hurts them politically. It hurts them during election season. And that's the last thing they want. So if you want to change behavior, just threaten to pull the money. It's very simple.
Yeah, I got to say, Trump's a master when it comes to using leverage for negotiating. I mean, that's truly masterclass.
And what's funny is it's the same song and dance. Like, there's never a switch up. It's never like, oh, he's never done this before. It's always been stuff he's done before. And it's like, we know how the story ends. So why are you dragging it out? Why are you putting up a fight in front of the cameras at the White House? We know what you're going to be doing in a month from now. You're going to be changing your tune. 205-545-9950. That's the number that'll get you in. We'll hit this break, come back on the other side with more of The Line Ain't Tight. Alabama Men's Clinic, bringing you this part of the show, AlabamaMen'sClinic.com. Do you have ED? That's the question. That's the question of the day. And it's not a comfortable question, is it, Tony Gump?
No.
But it's a fact of life. You get old, your body produces less testosterone, these things happen. It's not a big deal. And it's a very fixable issue if you go to the people that fix it. Now, we live in a day and age of every other commercial you hear talking about, oh, we got your ED solution. You know, we got this, we got that, we got the Chew Blues, we got the blah, blah, blah. Well, you can do that. You can take your chances on that stuff, or you can actually get with the doctors and the professionals that deal with this stuff every single day and sometimes get to the root cause, not just take a pill to handle it for a one-off. You can actually get it handled long-term. Low T also will keep you tired, keep you unmotivated, keep you from doing the things you need to do, you know, spending time with your family, getting out there and doing yard work. You can get that fixed by going to Alabama Men's Clinic. Set an appointment. These appointments cost $99. $99. That's it. That's all it costs you. They'll do the lab work. They'll do the consultation, and they'll get you up and going, no pun intended, for your low T issue. So, 205-598-7000. That's the number. 205-598-7000. Online, AlabamaMen'sClinic.com. And remember, you can set an appointment online. Sometimes you can set it the same day, depending on how early you do it. So, y'all hook that up. But yeah, I mean, liberals, not liberals, but Democrat politicians, you know, these people are in the business of talking a big game. All bark, no bite, if you will. That's literally their entire identity. And unfortunately for them, the more they do it, the more people wake up to it. And not only that, but you've got crazy people. As I noted earlier, the newer generation of Democrats that are coming in are getting more and more strange. Take, what's her name? Take Sarah McBride, for instance, okay? You remember Sarah McBride.
Oh, yeah.
Ironically, she's from Delaware, and she's trans. And I'm saying she because it's confusing on the pronouns when you know it's a he, but it looks like that. So it kind of looks like, I mean, still looks like a dude, but I mean, if you passed her or him on the street, you probably wouldn't think twice about it. So, I mean, if we're doing like the Trans Olympics, she'd probably be like a, bronze medalist, right?
You have to take a good look, but yeah.
Yeah, just don't look too hard. If you just glance, you can be like, okay, that's a woman. But anyway, besides that, these people, which is the party of weirdos, the party of the bizarre, has the audacity to tell you and tell me and tell Tony Gump that we are, in fact, the weird ones.
We will not take a lecture on decorum from a party that incited an insurrection. I appear to live rent-free in the minds of some of my Republican colleagues. I wish that they would spend even a fraction of the time that they spend thinking about me, thinking about how to lower the costs for American families. I wish they would spend a fraction of the time that they spend thinking about me, figuring out how to make government actually work better, rather than making it work worse in order to prove that government can't work. They are obsessed with culture war issues. The Republican Party is obsessed with culture war issues. It is weird and it is bizarre, and the American people deserve serious legislators, serious elected officials who are focused on bringing people together to deliver real results for the American people, not to play games and not to engage in schoolyard taunts.
Okay. Well, that's the first time I've ever been called weird and bizarre by a trans person.
Yeah, I kept looking at the Adam's apple. I don't know why.
I really don't even know what you said, if we're being honest. I
just kept seeing the Adam's apple move,
Yeah. No, this is the party of weird. There's no doubt about it.
It's that thing where you accuse other people of doing what you're doing yourself.
Yeah, you're projecting your own deal. And the Democrat Party is known for that. Whatever they accuse you of, as you know, this is the line rule of thumb. Whatever they accuse you of, they are in fact guilty of themselves. That is no different. Because you can take anybody. I mean, even people that have been there for a long time. Amy Klobuchar, okay? These people are just if they're not outright weird, they're awkward. Okay? And when they get up there and they try to seem like Mr. Cool Guy or Mr. Cool Girl and they're connecting with people, because listen, they're just like you. You sit back and you're like, it's kind of cringe.
Of a blizzard, and he called me Snow Woman. So I wrote back, hey, Donald Trump, the science is on my side, and I'd like to see how your hair would fare in a blizzard. So I wrote back, hey, Donald Trump, the science is on my side, and I'd like to see how your hair would fare in a blizzard. So I wrote back, Donald Trump, the science is on my side, and I'd like to see how your hair would fare in a blizzard. Sometimes, if you haven't noticed, you use a little humor. Like when he called me Snow Woman at my announcement in the middle of that thing, I wrote back on Twitter, I'd like to see how your hair would fare in a blizzard. So I wrote back, hey, Donald Trump. So I wrote back, hey, Donald Trump. So I wrote back. I tweeted back. The science is on my side. And I'd like to see how your hair would fare. And I'd like to see how your hair would fare in a blizzard. I'd like to see how your hair fares in a blizzard.
Okay.
Practice much?
Is that not
That was a bit
cringe?
much right there, fellas.
That's so cringe. That is so cringe. And you see, Tony, you saw it, and people on YouTube and Twitter saw it. They lean into it, and they're like, she's like, your hair in a blizzard. Like the audience is just about to erupt, and everybody's like, hey. I've heard this line a bunch before. I'm like, what is going on here?
That was super cringe. Sorry.
Yeah, they're just, I don't know. It's if it's not that, it's remember the 22 senators that did the same exact script on TikTok?
Yep.
And I think we played on the podcast. We put them all together and played them all at the same time. And then you saw him start peeling off one boat. It was the same script. It actually started, I remember when it started. It was one day, it was Chuck Schumer and Elizabeth Warren. Yep. And I was kind of shocked by it. I was like, oh my God, they were doing the exact same script. And within hours, there was 22 of them all doing the exact same thing. And I'm like, that doesn't connect with people, because what people want in an elected official, like what they're attempting to do is to, again, connect. They want people to look at them and say, you know what? They're just like me. They want the same things I do. And nothing could be further from the truth. And when they come out and they attempt to connect with people, it becomes abundantly clear that they're not like you, that they can't connect. And this is, I've said it 100 times, one of the most fascinating things about Donald Trump, the politician, is this is a guy, a billionaire from New York City, who was able to connect with middle-class people all across this country. A guy that you would normally say, a billionaire from New York doesn't have anything in common with, a 75-year-old man from Coleman, Alabama. But yet, here we are. Because he understands how to talk to people. He doesn't talk down to people. He doesn't talk to you like you're stupid. He tells you, hey, this is who I am. I'm going to tell you what's on my mind, and this is what we're going to do. And my track record proves that if I say I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. That's what people like. That's what people want. And that's why Donald Trump is president for the second time around. Back after this. Hey now, ladies and gentlemen. Hey now, hey now, hey now, hey now, hey now, hey now. You did good with that one, Tony. I forgot to point at you again.
I was ready. Hey
right
now.
on it, baby.
Hey now.
Right on it. Hey now. Hey now. Welcome to the show, everybody. My 1 o'clock people who always come in clutch. I just want to say, you 1 o'clock people, you are the best. If I'm breaking it down, and I don't mean this with any offense to our 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock people. I feel like our 11 and 12 people actually stick through the whole thing. And then our 1 o'clock people are like, it's work or lunch breaks or whatever, has them coming in on the tail end. Or maybe part of it is they don't like my show, but they like the Wheel of Segments, which I never thought I'd say that. I didn't think that would exist because we used to get heat on the Wheel of Segments because I'm like, that's so graphic, it's so bad. But I think it's grown on people.
Well, you can't really win either way because if you do it, there's a lot of people that are happy and there's a few people that don't want it. And then you don't do it, then the people that want it are missed out,
That's why I do a little bit of everything on this show. So everybody's got a little something, You take the good with the bad with the good. It's a very simple thing. On the text line, who do we got? We've got Yo says, hey now. We've got Sidney Jones who says, hey, Andrew, my son is stationed in March Air Force Base, California, and I'm trying to spread you and the line all the way to California. Hey, now, hey, now, hey, now.
There you go.
Out in California, baby. Mike says Hunter Biden should would paint a portrait of Trump. He is looking for work. A little blow art. I like that. Good idea. Bubba Rumble says rent-free, speaking of Sarah McBride, a.k.a. people wondering WTF is up with that lunatic dude that pretends he's a woman. Justin says it's Becky with the good hair. And Boomer says, nah, dude, in no way would I say, damn, that's an ugly chick. I'd say, ish, that's one goofy weirdo. And the chicken lady coming with a hey now, hey now, hey now. And everybody on the chat and YouTube, if you're just joining us, today's show is live on YouTube and live on Twitter. We got a lot of people up in here. So shout out to everybody hanging out with us on that front. You can watch the show if you go to your YouTube app on your phone. Click the search bar, type in Over the Line Andrew McClain. Go to our channel, and that first video, the live video, you can watch this show. And hey, if you miss it, you want to go back and watch some of the previous hours, you can do that because it'll be posted right after under the live tab. We don't get to do this.
And it wouldn't hurt to like the video either, too.
Yes, that's right. I don't know. As many times as I've gotten people to go like videos, that's the one thing I haven't mentioned.
Not once.
Not one single time have I mentioned like the video. So y'all do that. We'll also have a podcast for you tonight. So be on the lookout for that. I want to start with Axiom Tax Resolution Group. That's Axiom Tax Resolution Group. My buddy Perry, right here in Birmingham, helping you get a resolution to your tax problems. Now, this is, it's kind of hit or miss. Tony Gump knows how brutal taxes are. As a business owner, it is nauseating every tax season for you to do your taxes.
Yes.
And sometimes some people get in a position, whether it's a business or maybe it's your personal taxes, where maybe they didn't take out enough money or something happened or purchase or whatever, and you end up getting charged a massive amount of taxes that you can't afford. And the IRS says, well, you got to pay this, or we're going to come garnish your wages, or we're going to come put a lien on your home, or da-da-da-da-da. And they start threatening you. You can put a stop to that with a simple phone call to Axiom Tax Resolution Group. Call Perry and his guys, and what they do is they immediately start talking to the IRS on your behalf. That stops the threatening letters, and it starts a negotiation that's going to allow you to pay a portion of what you think you owe. His goal is to get that number down as low as he can so you can pay it off, get it out of the way, and take that burden off your back. Here's the phone number, 205-872-1100. That's 205-872-1100. Axiom Tax Resolution Group. Let them know that we sent you. And I got to be honest, I think I'm losing my voice. Do I sound like I'm losing my voice?
I just noticed that a few minutes ago. I was wondering what's going on.
That's not good, because I got a whole nother hour after this to do. But maybe I'm just doing too much yelling. Maybe I'm tired. I think I'm tired. I think that's why I'm losing my voice.
Nah, you're never tired. Let's do this.
Never. All right, so, y'all join us on YouTube, Over the Line, Angel McClain. Look that up. Join us in the chat, and we'll be on the lookout for you. Let's go back to weirdo, shall we?
Sure.
Let's go back to trans people, actually. One of the more famous trans people over the past, I don't know, 2 years has probably been Dylan Mulvaney. Dylan Mulvaney, everybody knows. Nobody knew who Dylan Mulvaney was until he posted a social media video showing that he had partnered with Bud Light and Anheuser-Busch. Well, I don't know if it was the whole company, but partnered with Bud Light, and they sent him a Bud Light can with his face on it. And they said, hey, we support trans people, or whatever they were trying to do. And ever since then, Dylan Mulvaney has kind of been in the spotlight. After ruining a great American beer company, Dylan Mulvaney is still around. And now Dylan is on his next venture, where he has written a book about his trans adventures, or whatever. And also, just like everybody else on the freaking planet, has his own podcast. Do you want to see the intro to this podcast?
Let's do it.
This is the Dylan Hour.
In the shower, on a walk through the Dylan Hour, feeling sweet, feeling sour. I feel nothing. The Dylan Hour. My couch is open. It's better than therapy. All you soccer moms, all your theys and thems, all your bottom boys, my bisexual femmes. Come one and all, disassociate with me. It's free. Grab a drink or two or three. You have no friends. All good, you got me. It's the Dylan Hour. Love ya.
Oh, God.
So he was like, the Dylan Hour. So if y'all needed, because everybody's always like, hey, tell me a good podcast to listen to. I just found you one. It's the Dylan Hour.
Oh, man. Back to back with Michelle Obama podcast.
Right. When you finish your Michelle Obama podcast, go watch the Dylan Hour for dessert.
It actually looked a little entertaining.
It's got a little Mary Tyler Moore gimmick to it, I don't know.
I could have gone with some of those, not like the leg movements on the couch there. That just wasn't,
keep your skirt down, buddy.
Yeah.
We don't need to see you twigging berries. I mean, I don't even know what to say about that. But he fits in with his own party, I will say this. I don't see Dylan Mulvaney, and maybe I'm wrong about this, but I don't ever remember seeing Dylan Mulvaney taking shots at politicians or taking shots at Trump. Have you seen anything like that?
I haven't seen that. No, it's right.
That's actually a very, I would say it's a smart business move, but I don't know that, avoiding political conversations, which, by the way, if you got a podcast, you're going to end up going down that road, really benefits Dylan Mulvaney one way or another.
I don't know. I just hope that he, whatever, invested that Bud Light money properly, because I have a feeling he's out of it by now.
He probably owes a bunch of taxes on it. Call Perry. Perry will help you out. He don't care if you got the Dylan Hour podcast. He'll get your taxes taken care of. So I guess the question would be, who's Dylan Mulvaney going to bring on the podcast? He said in the intro, soccer moms, the theys and thems. He said the bottom boys.
I don't even know who that is, but
You don't want to. No.
This is the bottom.
Let it ride. Just let it ride, dog.
I didn't know. I mean, I know what that means, but I didn't know that was an actual title. Like you went by Bottom Boy.
That's a thing now, and we're not rocking with that at all.
So there's Bottom Boy and then there's Top Boy.
Is Bottom Boy like?
Right.
Is Bottom Boy the opposite of what pimps have with their bottom B?
No.
Like on the male version of it?
I think bottom is referring to your position in a adult sexual encounter.
Okay, I thought maybe it was a person getting the money. I didn't know.
No. This is all about.
Yeah, they're getting something.
Position.
It's just not money.
It's not money.
Yeah.
Well, or they could be. You know what? Nah, let's just.
But we're gonna get Darian in trouble. He's
all gonna be in trouble.
He's been in trouble one single time, and then he produces on the line. He gets in trouble.
Yeah, I can't roll out like that.
So again, the question is, who is Dylan Mulvaney going to bring on? And I thought, well, I could probably find some good guests for him. In particular, people that are in public office, because when you look at the Democrat Party, they have a variety of different people, from Sarah McBride to Bernie Sanders to, Kamala Harris and, fake Indians like the Elizabeth Warren. The list goes on and on. You got the AOC, the Rashida Tlaibs, you got Jasmine Crockett, you got all these different people. So the options are endless, but I want to give my personal suggestions for the Dylan Hour. My first suggestion would be a mental health advisory board out of Oregon, where one of the members of this advisory board identifies as a turtle. This is Oregon's Health Authority, the state agency responsible for shaping mental health policies, has welcomed a new advisory board member who identifies as a turtle. During a recent meeting of the OHA's Consumer Advisory Council, J.D. Holt, who also goes by J.D. Terrapin on Facebook, proudly announced that her preferred pronouns include they, them, and turtle. Hello, everybody. This is a quote. I'm not actually going to play the audio of this. I'm just going to read it.
All right.
Hello, everybody. It's JD. I use they, them, and turtle for my pronouns. Oh, that was it. That was the quote. Holt is just one of roughly 24 so-called consumers on the council, which, under Oregon's leftist leadership, is tasked with shaping policies for mental health services across the state. And I just don't know that your mental health advice needs to come from somebody who identifies as a turtle. The group is handpicked by OHA Director Sejal Hathi, who was appointed by Democrat Governor Tina Kotek, a politician who has done nothing to curb Oregon's crime, drug, and homelessness crisis, but seems fully invested in pushing radical identity politics. According to the Daily Mail, citing Gender Wiki. Oh, there's a Gender Wiki? Oh, we're going to have to look that up on the podcast this afternoon.
Yeah, that's news. I didn't know that.
Turtle gender.
All right, let's break in 2 minutes.
Turtle-eye gender or tortoise gender is a xenogender identity in which one feels a gendered connection to turtles. One may feel their gender is replaced by a turtle, or their gender is best described with the use of turtles. But it gets worse. A dive into Holt's Facebook post uncovered by Fox News reveals it's not just a turtle. She is an anarchist turtle.
Oh, Lord.
I said she. Is it she or a he?
I don't know. It's all so diverse. It doesn't matter anymore.
On January 9th, Holt posted a rant titled, quote, "What to do at an ICE checkpoint, especially if you are white and or feel the need to jam up the works." Her advice: white citizens, you have a level of privilege which protects us from retaliation from ICE for being rude and making a scene, which makes it our duty to speak up and make sure people without the same privilege know their rights. Get loud, yell in Spanish if you know it. Let people know they don't have to say ish, make ICE uncomfortable, throw sand in the gears of white supremacy. Well, I don't know where the whole anarchist turtle was supposed to be in that, but anyway, it's not just a turtle, it's an anarchist turtle, apparently. But that should be Dylan Mulvaney's first guest. That is my suggestion.
It'd be a very diverse guest.
Yes, it would. It's Dylan Mulvaney, the Dylan Hour with a turtle. All right, let me hit this break. 205-545-9950. More of the line coming up. Big tight. You know, they make a good point on the chat line. They said that, well, I can't read that part, but they said it's the Dylan Hour sponsored by Bud Light. And that nobody believes Dylan Mulvaney drinks Bud Light anyway, or any kind of beer. So maybe that was the confusion. She got hit up by a company, and he thought they said Bud Light. And he said, of course I would want to sponsor that. It's a bottom boy organization.
It's a conspiracy worth looking into.
Yes, it is. And we will deep dive into that later today. So stay tuned. Again, live on YouTube for this episode. We've got the Wheel of Segments coming up next segment. So stick around for that. And podcast coming up later this evening. We go to YouTube, your YouTube app, type Over the Line Andrew McClain, and click our channel and join us live, or go to my Twitter account at Andrew McClain, who X account, if you will, and you can watch live there as well. Let me tell you about Earnest Financial, shall I? Earnest Financial, retirewithernest.com, retirewithernest.com. That's my buddy David Earnest. Been doing this over 40 years, man. That's a long, long time. Long time. And what they do is they save you money. They actually grow your money. If you are 55 years old or older and you have over 50K, maybe it's a little over 50K, maybe it's a lot over 50K, in your retirement, the thing to do at this point is to call David Earnest, tell him we sent you, and allow those guys to put you in a position where not only you prevent your money from going down, but you make your money grow. And that way, you can retire when you want to retire, do the things you want to do when you retire, and be in a better position than you could have ever imagined. So call them up. Again, mention the line, 205-479-0839. It's 205-479-0839. RetireWithErnest.com. Tell them Andrew McLean sent you. Actually, tell them the Oregon Mental Health Advisory Board sent you. And that you talked to a turtle. No, I'm just kidding. Don't do that. I mean, you could. You know, David Ernest listens to the show, so he'd probably get it. But also, the Health and Wealth Show every Monday through Friday, right before Dixon and Vining. That's Ernest and David Ernest and his guys. So hook that up. Can I do one more guest for Dylan Mulvaney's podcast?
Sure.
This may be an even better fit than the turtle health official.
Okay.
This is a person that has been appointed to a Washington State City Council, and the person is a trans OnlyFans content creator with a cannibalism fetish.
Oh, Lord. This is not real.
A cannibalism fetish? What is that? I don't think that's legal.
I've heard of that one time out of Europe years ago. So
I think that is self-explanatory, but it's still crazy.
Man, I've heard of people being into some weird stuff, but like,
well, if anybody's going to eat their own, it should be the Democrats. So.
Yeah, they do. They do that on a regular basis, it seems like. All right, so let me just give you a little backstory. This is for you, Dylan. All right, I'm just trying to help your new podcast. A transgender OnlyFans content creator who has a cannibalism fetish was unanimously appointed to fill a vacant seat on the Linwood City Council in Washington State. Jessica Ann Roberts, who's 32 years old and is also not Jessica Ann Roberts, more like Neil Vincent Roberts, has posted on social media about having an uncontrollable desire to impregnate women and eat them. On Monday, the Democrat-run city council selected Roberts over an Army combat veteran and Amazon program manager Robert Luttweiler to fill the vacancy. An Army combat vet lost out to a trans OnlyFans cannibal. What? The Linwood Times was the first to report about Roberts' history as a sex worker. Says Roberts had an OnlyFans account under the username JaRoberts1501, for anybody that wants to look that up, which included 12 videos and 63 photographs of sexually explicit content. According to the account bio, Roberts is described as a bisexual trans woman with itty-bitty titties and a big girl rooster.
What?
But she didn't say rooster.
Is this Wheel of Segments already?
Yeah, she really should have saved this for next segment.
Yeah, that would have lined up perfectly. What?
As I go down here, it says Roberts. Roberts has since deactivated the OnlyFans account. Probably a good idea. After the paper disclosed the matter on Monday night in a statement to the Linwood Times, Roberts said the OnlyFans account was created to make, quote, a little cash on the side and increase self-confidence. Boy, nothing will boost your self-confidence quite like telling people you want to eat them alive. He said, quote, the reason the account was taken down was because I do not want to waste taxpayers' money or the council's time watching this turn into a debate on whether or not it's socially acceptable for me to have an account. Sex workers live, work, and pay taxes in their municipalities, counties, state, and federal government, while also contributing to their communities every day in ways not related to their work. They absolutely deserve the opportunity to represent their communities just as much as anyone who works in any other jobs across our city. Yeah. So the Linwood, this is the breakdown of the vote, by the way. So the Linwood Council was initially tied 3-3, voting for Roberts or Luttweiler, the Army combat vet, to fill the vacant seat, which was seat number 5 or position 5. Following multiple executive sessions, the council unanimously approved Roberts to the seat in a 6-6 vote. Council members who were most adamant about selecting Roberts, all of whom are progressive Democrats, were David Parshall, Derica Escamilla, and Josh Binda, a controversial counselor who faced a recall effort in 2023. Roberts is also currently employed as a customer service representative at a local plumbing company, according to his LinkedIn account.
Oh, boy.
Boy, I bet he's doing some plumbing. I bet.
Hey, man, just chill out.
I bet he knows plumbing better than anybody else. All right, that was inappropriate. Let's take this break. Come back on the other side.
Thank you, Andrew.
Wheel of segments right after this. Back at it. The Line Talk 99.5. And just to show y'all some love, Bill Wilder, Boomer, Matthew, Scott, Dakota, another Matthew. Man, the chat's gone so long I can't read all the things. But thank y'all for hanging out. Even my buddy Nacho out in Canada is hanging out with us on YouTube. On YouTube and Twitter, y'all go to our channel, like it, give us some Make sure y'all subscribe. Anybody that's hopping on there, you hadn't subscribed to the channel yet, this is now the time to do it. And I see some of y'all have, so that's a good thing. And stick around just for a few minutes after this show. If you're online with us, after the line is over, we're gonna stay on about 4 or 5 extra minutes before Leland starts his show and hang out with you. So we might give you some important information. You never know. Mm-hmm. We might actually tell you about a new gender that you've never heard of, like a new animal that you could be. You could identify as a wombat. Where are we at? Let's go with Mandu. How about that? Mandu.com. MANDUU.com. I love me some Mandu. And Paul, the owner of Mandu, he and his wife, Jolie, I don't get to see Paul a lot these days, even though I'm at Mandu 3 days a week, because his schedule, he's usually gone before I get there. But we, talk on text all throughout the week. I got to see him the other day, and it was so good to see him. And he goes, man, I barely recognize you. He's like, you're just a totally different person. Of course, he hadn't seen me since I cut my hair and all that kind of stuff. But he was like, man, I can't believe it. And he says he can't believe it, but he can believe it because he knows how good Mandu is about changing your life, your health, how you feel, how you look, and your mindset. That's the biggest thing. Mandu even builds up your metabolism to where, when your metabolism goes up, you burn fat by doing absolutely nothing. Your body's just organically burning that fat. So get in on it. 15-minute workout, as you know. It's very simple. You got your own personal trainer walking you through it. You don't have to know, about all the workouts or be a gym rat. But if you are, you can also come to Mandu as well. Man, woman, 18 or 80. That's what I always say. Whatever you got going on, Mandu could be for you. You can try it for free by going to Mandu.com and clicking that button that says claim your free session. You go over to Homewood. They'll be ready for you. They'll walk you through the process, and you will love it. You love it. 205-478 0. No, that's not it. It's 438. There we go. 205-438 6003. It's 205-438-6003, Mandu.com. Let's see, man. You think let's see if we can make my voice go out before the show's over. It's getting progressively worse.
You need some cold water here soon.
Yeah, let me drink some water real quick, just for the sake of.
You do a lot of talking. I'll give you that.
Yeah. And
everybody on the radio, eventually their voice goes in and out. We've seen it happen to everybody.
Well, Andre Hunter texted me and told me that it's probably pollen. So we got a lot. Has there been a lot of pollen around here?
I remember in the car washing business, every March to April was pollen season.
Screw that pollen. Right. Man, that stuff sucks. All right. Well, if Darian's ready, I think we're ready. It is time, ladies and gentlemen, for the Wheel of Segments. Spin that wheel, baby.
Something good.
Give me something good.
Animals are
friends. Let's go. Right. Yeah. Hit my music, baby.
Animals are friends. They're not food or property. Tell me, would you eat your dead granny? If not, then think about your hypocrisy.
That's right. Animals are friends. A fan favorite here on the line. And let's see what we've got first. Actually, in a very rare event, you'll be able to see what we're talking about here on YouTube or Twitter if you're watching us. Up first, headline, Octopus hitches a ride on a shark's back in remarkable footage that is a reminder of the wonders of the ocean. Would you look at that? It's a little piggyback ride. But since that octopus is on top of that shark, would that make the shark a bottom boy? Is my question.
Sharktocopus.
Sharktocopus. Forget Sharknado. This is a whole new deal. Researchers from the University of Auckland got a chance sighting of an octopus hitching a ride on the back of a shark, which they dubbed Sharktopus. Sharktopus. I guess I need to pronounce. You gotta be careful how you pronounce that. Sharktopus. The team was off the northern coast of New Zealand in the Hauraki Gulf in 2003 when they spotted a short fin mako shark with an orange blob attached to its back. Says, place that little video up there. Yeah, right there. Let's just mute that. See what we... Okay, I see it right there. Look at that. Okay, that's kind of neat.
That is neat.
I don't know that it's that big of a deal. I've always been fascinated with, like, sea creatures, because there's, like, an endless amount of different, breeds or whatever, different kinds of fish and wildlife down there. Upon closer inspection, they realized it was a Maori octopus when they spotted its tentacles moving. They said, at first I was like, is it a buoy? That's according to one of the marine scientists. They said, is it entangled in fishing gear or had a big bite? The phenomenon was particularly remarkable because of the nature of both creatures. Octopuses usually are on the ocean floor, where short-fin mako sharks typically do not go. They said it makes no sense that these two animals should be at the same place and time to encounter each other, adding that both marine animals seemed quite happy. They said, we have no idea how they found each other. It's a match made in heaven.
Oh.
It's like a Disney story, It's like the Lady and the Tramp. It's like Finding Nemo. They found each other. How sweet. I'll be honest, it's kind of a dumb story, but that's what we had in that file. So, moving on. Up next. Oh, I should throw this at the camera, shouldn't I?
Yeah.
Boom.
There you go.
I missed, but that's all right. Up next, what do we got here? It seems we have a headline, and that headline reads... Men with pythons wanted for Tennessee gas station theft. That's how they do it in Tennessee. You're going to rob a gas station, you just take your snake. Or you say, I'm a snake. I'm a snake. This is out of Memphis. Employees at a truck stop in Denmark, Tennessee, felt threatened when at least 4 people came into the gas station with 2 pythons. In surveillance pictures provided by the Madison County Sheriff's Office, you see the men holding the snakes and placing them on the counter. The worker said that the men with the python stole about $400 worth of CBD oil. Wait a minute. CBD oil?
I'm sure it had some other things in it.
Yeah, it had to be Delta 8.
Well, if this was Tennessee, yeah, it probably was Delta.
Yes. Don't worry, guys. It's just CBD oil. It's not that big a deal. The guy, Mayor Raval, said he and his brother were working at the store at the time, and he was afraid of the snakes. He said they were just waving them around and putting them on the counter. One person brought in one snake first, and then after that, he brought in another snake. One is white, one is brown or mixed. Raval said the men with snakes were able to grab the CBD oil from the counter. He thinks they wanted to take more than that, but too many customers were around. Okay, so they come in and they toss the snakes on the counter, and as the Raval brothers are like, oh, no. They back up, you snatch what you need off the counter, and you dip out.
Now, would that be a regular just robbery, or would that be robbery with a weapon? Would they consider the snake a weapon?
It's robbery with a snake with intent to bite.
Now, I've never heard of this before, but I wouldn't want to get near those snakes.
It's new. It's a new tactic. He said they pulled their car up to the front of the door. I think they plan to successfully come in here and rob the store. The snake is a weapon,
Oh, there you go.
There you go. The men with the python were with 2 women and driving a small 4-door sedan with a drive-out tag and bungee cords on the trunk. Hopefully you weren't keeping the snakes in the trunk. There's the car. Yeah, that's what kind of car is that? Can you tell?
It's like a little Kia or something like that.
Yeah.
It's hard to tell which brand it's.
Bungee cords on the trunk. He ain't lived till you've done that.
Can't spot that out of a crowd, huh?
Last year, a man was arrested after he allegedly tried to rob a Memphis gas station with a snake as well. In that incident, police said Reginald Cook, 26 years old, had a 5-foot snake wrapped around his neck when he demanded cash from a clerk at a Shell station. He was charged with 2 counts of attempted aggravated robbery. So, aggravated robbery, that's what they'll go with.
Okay.
I don't guess they do the snake as a weapon. Although it could be. I mean, you could use it even if you say, well, if the snake bites you, it's not like I'm biting you, it's a snake. You can still use it as a whip. Whoopsh.
Yeah.
Dum. Whoopsh.
Well, that's definitely a new one.
Yep, never heard that one before.
Nope.
And last but not least, this headline, which makes no sense to me whatsoever. It says, shelter worker, I assume this is animal shelter since this is Animals Are Friends. Shelter worker scoured bin of dog vomit for human toes to sell for $400 on black market.
What?
And it says, wait, look at the top of the story. We see what it says. It says under the headline, warning, graphic content.
Yeah.
And I have not read this story, as y'all know, so allow me to indulge with you. A Melbourne mother, so this is out of Australia.
Yeah.
A Melbourne mother who put a dead man's toes in a jar to sell them on the black market had a treasure trove of other oddities in her house. Lilydale woman Joanna Catherine Kinman, 48 years old, appeared in the Ringwood Magistrates Court on Monday to plead guilty to a single charge of offensive conduct involving human remains. The court heard Kinman worked as a ranger at an animal shelter where her job involved after-hours collection of stray and seized animals. Leading senior constable Melissa Sambrooks said that on February 19th of last year, 2 dogs have partially consumed the toes after their owner died from natural causes, were seized and taken for an assessment. Okay.
Yeah.
So the toes in question here are toes that were eaten by the dogs who ate their owner's toes.
Oh, man.
After the owner passed away, and, maybe nobody found him for days or even weeks. And
the dog got hungry.
The dog gets hungry.
This isn't a Gene Hackman thing, is it?
I don't know. But the dog says, oh, well, there's some little piggies, and then they eat that. And okay. So anyway, let me keep going. So that happens while at the facility where Kinman worked, the dogs became ill and vomited up the remains. Sam Brooks said shelter staff cleaned up the vomit and placed it and the remains, which included 2 human toes, in a general waste bin. When a distressed staff member left work early, Kinman remained behind to lock up, taking the opportunity to search through the bins. Quote, she located 2 human toes and took them home and placed them in a jar containing formaldehyde. The following day, Kinman called her daughter and told her about the toes, saying she had researched selling them on the internet and believed she could get $400 for them. Okay.
Wow.
Who's buying toes, dude?
I've heard of people with toe fetishes, but this is ridiculous.
This is out of pocket. I mean, we're not talking like stem cell research here. We're not talking about Planned Parenthood black market stuff. Like, these are just toes.
Yeah, it's not even from like a famous person or something.
And if a dog ate them, like, it's probably all chewed up.
Just like random chewed up toes.
It's not even a good toe.
Yeah, it's not even a good toe.
So you ain't gonna you make it like $150.
Yeah, dog didn't even want to keep the bone on this one.
Dog didn't even like it. He threw it up. When police arrived and asked if she had the remains, the court heard Kinman pointed to a glass shelf behind her where the toes were suspended in a clear liquid. The jar was positioned among other oddity items, including a guinea pig trotter, I don't know what that is, an alligator claw, a bird skull, and baby teeth belonging to the accused's children, to baby teeth belonging to her children.
Yeah.
The court heard further inquiries, found Kinman was a member of Bone Buddies Australia, an online group for, quote, skull and bone enthusiasts to swap and sell specimens or share their finds with others. Sam Brooks and Kinman was an avid contributor to the site and used it to sell a wet specimen of a stillborn kitten and puppy and a book titled The History of Punishment and Torture. Wow, what a mix. Kinman had also taken part in discussions about roadkill and a television show focused on the trade of human remains. The mother of 5 made full admissions to police about the toes, telling them she was curious and was known to collect weird things. Don't worry about it, officer. I just collect weird stuff like human toes. Detective Andrew Austin said the incident had left the deceased person's family distraught. The shelter and dog owner cannot be named for legal reasons. The recovered remains were sent to the coroner. A defense lawyer said his client had been subjected to online abuse since the incident was made public and lost her job. The lawyer said it was spontaneous, unplanned behavior with nothing to suggest Kinman would reoffend. He said she had expressed enormous regret over her actions.
Oh, God. Maybe she was auditioning for the real Skull and Bones over there at Yale or whatever.
Maybe that's it. Maybe she's like, I need to get in that group. Maybe I'll collect a couple toes.
Maybe she wants to be like a president or something.
Maybe. Anyway, that is a very disgusting episode, and I apologize. But that, ladies and gentlemen, is what we call Animals Are Friends. You see, I'm leaving my voice. I got one more segment to go. You
can do it.
We can do it. Noto Roofing, one more time, NOTOroofing.com, NOTOroofing.com. You'll hit yourself, get in touch with my guys at Noto Roofing. Let them know we sent you. Get that free roof inspection. If you got problems, as you know, they'll help you file that insurance claim, get you taken care of. They've done work for me. They've done work for Tony Gump. They've done work for a bunch of people I know, including many in this audience. You know they're going to take care of you. Get that peace of mind by getting that roof inspection. 205-848-2299 and online, NOTOroofing.com. Back after this. You know what I forgot to do? I forgot to throw this paper at the camera.
Do it now.
This is the toe story, by the way.
That needs to go anyway.
I missed it.
It's close.
That was close. That was close. All right, we're about to get up out of here. Remember, for those of you that are watching us on Twitter and YouTube, stick around for just a few minutes after the radio show. We're going to hang out with you for, 4 or 5 minutes before Leland Live gets kicked off. And we're going to make a couple announcements. We got some things coming up we want to let you know about. And you will be thankful you did it. We got a couple calls. I think Richard the Cop, is that who we got? Richard the Cop on the line?
Yes, sir.
Richard the Cop, what's up, buddy? Hey now.
Got you an Uber story from the weekend, Andrew.
Oh, I'd love to hear this.
I had a lady get in the car with a little bitty baby, old enough to have a car seat, didn't have the car seat. You know what the policy is on that. So I made her go back in the house. She comes out, she's sporting a nice attitude. And I take her and I drop her off, and I go around the corner to stop and go to the bathroom at the gas station. And I got back in the car, and the car smelled horrible. And I got to look in, there's a dirty diaper in the floorboard.
Oh, no.
Oh, no. When you act stupid, I act stupider. I took a picture of it, and I sent it to Uber, and they paid me the $15 fee to return her property. And I drove right back to her apartment, called her on her app, told her she had left something in the car. Please come out and get it. And handed her a Walmart bag with it in it.
You know what you should have done? You should have went old school, put it on her doorstep and light it on fire.
Well, I wanted to go with the $150, but it wasn't that kind of a cleanup, and the picture wouldn't have justified it. So I didn't want to shoot a blank. But, yeah, I put one over the bow.
Well, yeah, and that's I was going to say that's the thing is, like, if somebody threw up or made a mess in your car, the Uber would pay you $150 for a cleanup fee and charge the rider for it.
I don't think that would have made it. And then I got around the corner, went to a truck driving place, and got paid $70 to drive an oil filter to Oxford.
Nice. Yeah, I remember those.
Yeah.
I don't want to give away the secrets for some of these people that are doing it, but there are several companies out there that will need like emergency delivery to a place, and they'll just get it Ubered. Those were the best ones.
Wow.
Those were my favorites.
Shout out to the boys over at Southland. Love y'all. Have a good weekend, Andrew.
Awesome. Richard the Cop, thank you, buddy. Appreciate you, man. It's yeah. I've said this before, but I don't miss doing Uber. You remember my Uber days.
Yeah.
It wasn't easy.
I'd be buy some of that fake vomit, put it in the car, take a picture, and then get the $150. Take it out.
That would work in the system. Yeah, Richard the Cop should have opened up that diaper and just like smeared it all over his seats. Man, look at what she did.
Melt a Snickers bar and do it or something.
Yeah, look at this turd, Uber. Pay me $150. Come on, call.
Probably tax that too.
Yep. Oh, they will. The thing is you gotta, when you do rideshare, you gotta work your deductions. Like,
right.
And if you do that, you won't get a tax return, but you won't have to pay any taxes in all year. It'll all level out. And actually, I had so many miles on my Uber deal that even this year, as long as it's been since I did it, I still had mileage deductions this year on this year's tax.
Right. You can carry forward, right?
Yeah. Crazy. Because my mom does my taxes, and she's like, yeah, you can still use it. No, my mom is always right about everything.
She's
so I don't
awesome.
question it. Yeah, she is. She definitely is. Last but certainly not least is Vapor Forge.
Uh-oh.
Bringing you this part of the show. Vapor Forge with an owner here. It's not every day I get to do a live read where the owner is sitting beside me. Tony and Amy they do a phenomenal job, and, can't say enough good things. I assume we've had the audience, people coming in, still giving hey nows and all that, right?
Oh, yeah. I love it when they just open the door and shout it and then take off.
Yeah.
Not even vaping or anything.
I may have told them to do that a time or two. But, y'all just appreciate y'all supporting these guys because they've been with us since day one. They're an integral part of the line, an integral part of Over the Line, and the success. That's where the success started, right there. The very first advertiser on the show, that got it started. And Vapor Forge hasn't missed a day. We're actually talking about this during one of the breaks, is in radio world, when it comes to advertisers and stuff, sometimes things happen that are out of your control, maybe like a billing issue, and it may cause you to miss a day of your ads or whatever. We've never had that issue with you.
I've never been late.
He's never been late, never been a paperwork issue, nothing like that. It has been every single day. Anyway, that's enough. I'm gonna rest.
And if you're a
now.
heavy smoker, go to Vapor Forge, 4673 Highway 280 East, right by Bailey Brothers Music and by the Wendy's. You'll be glad you went. We got a really good crew. We'll see you there.
That's right. And I'm glad you said that because I almost skipped all of that.
205-874-9010. Call
That's
them
right.
now. It's 205-874-9010.
Thank y'all for hanging out with me today. If you're on YouTube or Twitter, stick around for a few more minutes, and we'll be back on the radio tomorrow. See you, Cut! Yeah, everybody.
Yay.
Good job, everybody. Head out.
We did it.
We did it.
I wonder how many, do we have any screw-ups during that? There was just that one split second where you talked where you didn't signal me, but other than that.
No, I think it was flawless. I think we did a good job.
It's so hard to do with YouTube and the radio because on YouTube you can like cuss and stuff, and the radio you can't, and there's things you can't play on YouTube you can play on the radio.
I know. I had to. It actually, and I said this to you before we started, my show prep is so much easier when we do it here because I don't have to like record a bunch of audio and line it all up and everything else here, which is kind of like the podcast. We go by the seat of our pants, and it just goes like smoother. So I think that went well. We wanted to stick around for a couple more minutes because one, here in the next hour, we're going to be recording a new podcast that'll be available later this evening. And two, by the way, Nacho coming through with a super chat during that for
I saw that.
$70. It was 70 Canadian dollars, so I don't know how that translates.
It's
but
close. It's probably more like 60-something U.S. dollars, but it's close.
Yeah, so shout out to Nacho on the super chat. And for those of you that have not done our membership deal, I want to explain this to you real quick. And Tony, you could actually probably pull up the Over the Line channel and we can show them in real time.
All right.
If you go to the channel, let's see here.
I'll have to switch account to mine or something.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. If you go to our channel and you look at the main page where it's got all the videos and stuff.
As soon as I can find the stupid thing.
This is what you're going to see, okay? Okay, now go back.
Oh, yeah.
And if you're looking at the main page, you see where it says Over the Line, it's got the logo, it says subscribed, and to the right of subscribed, it says see perks. Now, are you signed up for this?
I am signed up.
Okay.
It would normally say join right here.
It's going to say join. So if you click that join button for $4.99 a month, you will get some different perks. Actually, click see perks, and we'll see what exactly they get. So you get the badge there by your name, the little star thing. You get exclusive photos, and what does that say?
Early access, member shout-outs.
Priority reply to comment. That's all stuff that's manual. But you get videos that we're not releasing publicly. For instance, this one right here that says Over the Line Post Show. That's members only. So if you're signed up for that, you will get those exclusive videos. And we will be doing one of those after each podcast, a post show. And I think y'all enjoy it. So if you haven't done it yet, I know Boomer's done it. Our buddy Scott's done it. We got a couple more on there. Our Wild Hair Jerky guy's done it.
Yep.
That's going to be your way to contribute to this podcast. I know, $4.99 a month. It's very little money, but if we get enough people to do that, we can just add to the show and everything we do here. So sign up for that. We put in a lot of work, and I think you will enjoy it. Just hit that join button, sign up, and become an exclusive member of the Hey Now Nation.
Yeah, it's cheaper than a value meal at Taco Bell.
That's right. You can't even get a fast food meal for that money.
Nope.
$4.99 a month. Y'all hook that up. And if you do that, then like next time we go live, you have some soup. I tell you what we really want to do is when we get enough people signed up for that, we want to do an exclusive members only live show.
Yep.
And so we don't have enough people on there to do it just yet. But if y'all will go sign up for that, we'll start doing some live stuff that's only for the people that are signed up as members. So with all that, we're going to get out of here. We'll be recording a podcast here in the next few, and we will post that publicly. And then for you members, we'll post a post show for you. I've actually got something very exciting that I'm going to do for that post show.
Okay, I'm ready.
We're going to do some DEI training.
Oh, man.
Yeah, we're all going to learn together. Okay? Okay.
Diversity is our strength.
Diversity is our strength. All right, now y'all go listen to Leland live on Talk 99.5. We'll be back very soon. Until next time, see you guys.